everybody, it's your good buddy Jody Sharp from Super Flies for Super Guys, and I got a good one for us today. This is the Wigglebum Nymph in the color orange. You can tie it in multiple colors. Any color, you can use any color scheme you want, but I'm going to show you this orange one because this was killing it the other day, and I just thought you guys would like to see it. And if you've seen my last video, you'll see the bass and the perch and the crappies and all the things I caught on the orange Wigglebum fly. So this is it, this one here in the vise. So let's get to it. The first thing you're going to need is a piece of Christmas wire. So you know the hooked wire that they hook the ornaments with? You're going to need a piece of that. And basically you're going to need a pair of little pliers with the little rounded eyes, or if you have a looping pliers, they will work just as good. I'm going to just show you with the looping pliers because most people have that. So if you have a pair of looping pliers, that's what these are called, you put your wire in and you press down and it bends it, and then you can press down your wire and just twist it left and right, and there you go, it makes a loop. Alright, so that is going to be where we start to tie our abdomen or our bum on. So you're going to put it into your vise, and I'm going to turn my vise to the side so that it's up and down, and we're going to attach our black thread. If you don't have a black thread, you can use a clear nylon thread or a black nylon thread. Often you can tie it in black or clear. I find that for this pattern it helps just to have the black nylon or the black thread, just regular black thread, because it really makes strong body lines, and it really kind of helps this pattern. So we're going to attach our thread just below the loop, or what would be the eye of the hook, but it's a loop. And you're going to tie it down right to the end. And then you're going to move it up 2 millimeters. And that's going to be where you tie your first body section. So because our little nymph is orange, we're going to need a piece of orange foam, which I have already cut to the size you need. I'm not sure how to tell you. I've never really measured it. I always go by eye, but you want it to be about that size. You'll just have to work that out for yourselves, I'm afraid. What you're going to do is you're going to fold that little piece in half, and if you have rounded craft scissors, just cut it round so that it's round on the end. Now you're going to hold it onto your piece of metal, and you're going to tie in the first body segment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops. Now that's going to be in there nice and secure. Now you're going to take your foam, you're going to fold it up, go down another 2 millimeters, and you're going to tie in another body section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, as you can see, it's a nice thick section, and you're going to pull it up, go to just before the end where the eye is, and you'll tie it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, making that last body section. Then you're going to pull up your foam. If you have covered that eye up, you can just take your fingers and push it gently down, and it'll just enough to loosen up the eye. Okay, so that your eye or your loop is free. Now we're going to take our thread and we're going to go in front while this is pushed over. We're going to go in front, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to take our 2 fingers, loop, loop, and we're going to tie it down. And that was not good. I broke my thread, but I did get the 1 loop done. So I usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I usually do that twice, so I'm going to do it on twice because I really want that thread not to unravel. 1, 2. Pull it tight. If you have a whip finisher, you can of course use it. I have one. Not going to use it. I hardly ever use my whip finisher. So the next thing we're going to do is, now that we tied that knot, we can trim off the excess thread, put that aside, and we can just take our rounded scissors and cut that end piece nice and round it off, just like that. Easy peasy. Okay, so now we're going to rotate our vise over. We're going to take some crazy glue, and if it seals over, I usually just take my wire cutting pliers and I just peel off whatever is on there. And it's almost guaranteed to happen to you if you use crazy glue. So we'll now take some crazy glue, add a dab to each of those 3 body sections, and then take your finger and just seal them, and that'll just keep everything sealed up. It didn't get too much crazy glue come out. Anyways, there was enough. This crazy glue is done, so I need a new bottle. But anyways, just so you know, that would be all sealed up like so. Okay, so while you've got your fly in the vise, you're going to take your brown Sharpie marker, if I can find it, and up the back of your fly you're going to do a body stripe like that. Just one. You don't have to get all crazy or fancy. And basically, as you can see on this wiggle bum, that's where it is. Okay. So now we're going to take our clear nail polish, our Sally Hansen's, and we're just going to gently dab the brown. You can wait for a minute to let that solid, and you just want to gently dab it. You don't want to rub it, you don't want to go all crazy, you don't want to do the whole thing, you just want to dab that. And that will cause that to dry up, and it won't smear that into the rest of the body. Okay, so we'll let that dry, and as that's drying, we'll take our Christmas hanger, because we're going to need a second loop. And for this one, I'm going to show you the other little pliers. So, but if you have your looping pliers, you would just make it the same as you did with the first loop. But these are a little bit finer tip. So let me straighten that out. I'll take my little flattening pliers, and I'll just straighten that out because I want that to be very straight. And then we're going to make another little loop using these pliers, and for these ones it's pretty much the same, only you twist with in between the two loops and that'll make your loop. And these are just a little bit finer than those pliers that I used. It just gives it a little smaller loop. This one I usually use for my game changers and things. When I'm doing little fine nymphs or things with little wiggly bums or whatever, I usually use these little pliers because they just allow me to get a smaller little loop. Alright, and this little loop is going to go in here, but we just need a minute. Now that's dry. It should be pretty dry. So now take your nail polish and just go over all the rest of the orange, and then one more time just dab on the top so that it's all uniform, and then go underneath and seal it from underneath. That's going to seal your color in, and it's going to give it a little bit of a shine, and yeah, so it just seals it in nice. Okay, so now while that's drying, I'm going to take my hemostats, grab onto the tip of the loop, and as you see where it was holding into the vise, you have a little bit of metal sticking out. What you want to do is you want to push that a little bit forward and give that a cut. And then you'll take your little metal, my pliers are magnetic so the metal sticks to them. Alright, so now you have that. And the last thing I like to do is there's a little shine on the metal on the butt. I just don't like that to be shining like that. So I'll take a little bit of black nail polish and I'll just tap it. And then that takes away the shine. And it looks really more natural that way. That's a tiny insignificant step, and if you forget it, it is not going to make a difference to the fish at all. Really, it won't. So now that your bum is kind of dried, we'll just put that off the side. We're going to take our hook, our little egg hook, number 8, size 8 egg hook, and we're going to put it into the vise like so. We're going to take our clear nylon thread, and the reason I like using it is because it ties things down real tight. It blends in all the colors, so no matter what color you use it against, it becomes that color. You don't see it very much, and I really, really like it, and it's a sturdy thread. Okay, so where did I put that little loop? Haha, I dropped it, didn't I? Well, of course I did. Alright, I'll just grab it. I always keep a magnet handy so that if I drop stuff, I can just, if any hooks or whatever, I can just pick them off the floor. Okay, so now we got our other loop, and that's going to attach our wiggly bum onto this hook. So it's pretty much dry now. That's the good thing about Sally Hansen's, it dries really quick. So now take your second loop and put it into your first loop, and then that's going to be your articulated segment. Now I have this neopladium magnet, and what you're going to see is, did you see that when I pulled up to the bum? It pretty much holds that into place so that it allows you to tie on your body segment. Now if you see, it's a little longer. You want that loop to be just where the bend of the hook is, so you don't want the wire to go past the eye of your hook. So you're just going to trim off that little bit of access, and then you can hold it back up. It'll hold up to the magnet again, and then when you hold it there, beautiful. It doesn't crowd the eye, and that's exactly what you want. So you want it to be the length of the hook, just shy of the eye. And then you can tie it in, start tying it in, and as you can see, the magnet will hold it. And as you're tying, if you see that it rotates a little bit, you can just take your hemostats and straighten it out. And you want to be quite liberal and just keep going back and forth, and you want to tie that in so that it ties in. Then you're going to take your crazy glue. I killed that other crazy glue that was empty, so just take this crazy glue here, and you're going to run your crazy glue. Hang on, why is that not coming out? If your crazy glue is really jammed up, you can always take a pin and push it through. Oh, this one, all my crazy glues are sealed. I haven't tied flies in the last couple of days, so come on now. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. This fly is gonna, I'm only fishing it anyway, so I know it's strong enough without the crazy glue. Just pretend you put crazy glue on there. Just pretend some came out. I'm just going to put a few extra wraps on there. And I can almost guarantee you, for all the fly tying I did, the crazy glue is just a security measure, but it is not. The odds of this wiggly bum coming out are slim to none, and I'll tell you why. Because the hook, if the hook was in the bum and not in the eye, and they got hooked on the bum, then the pressure would be on the bum. But because in order to get hooked, they have to swallow the whole bum up to the hook, they're never gonna put enough pressure on that to pull that out. Like I can yank on that. That is not coming off. I can assure you. But I always put it on there because I like that extra security. I like to build my flies strong. I have some flies that I've been able to fish for years and years because they're just really super strong. So the stronger you make a fly, the less chance of it getting chewed up. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a thinner piece of orange foam, and this is I think 1 or 2 millimeter foam, craft foam, and we're going to just tie this in with the longest part being in the front, and you just want to measure it to just below where the abdomen and the loop is, and you're going to tie that down like so. And you're going to be pretty aggressive with it. You don't want any really lumps or anything in there. And it's not going to help the flotation of this fly. So the more pressure points you put into foam, the more you crush down a foam, the less floaty or floatability it is. So the back of the fly, the eyes of the fly, and this, the back of it, that's what's going to make it float. The parts that you crush down, when you tie it down in real tight, those connecting points are not actually helping it to float at all. So that's something to bear in mind. So the next thing we're going to add in is this piece. I need my straight cutting scissors here. We're going to cut a piece of black foam to about 2 or 3 millimeters. All right, and we're going to take our round cutting scissors, and we're just going to cut that round on the end cut it round on the other end. This is going to be the eyes. We're going to take our thread, put it in the middle of that foam, and you're going to cinch it down. And then once you cinch it down, you can twist it with your fingers so that it's straight in alignment. And when it is, you can take your thread and you can just do a crazy 8. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take your orange foam, you're going to pull it straight up, give it a tiny bit of a stretch. With your other 2 fingers, you're going to pull those eyes forward like this, and then you're going to pinch it down on the behind those eyes, and then you can take your release that, take your thread, and tie it down. All right, and then you can just snip that excess off, like so, and then just tie that down securely. All right, and then that makes the little eyes. Okay, moving right along. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take the width that you want of your body will be just a little thinner than what the bum was, the abdomen, because you're not folding this down. So you'll cut this to the appropriate width. And what you're going to do is you're going to put the longer piece down over the abdomen all the way down, and you're going to snug this up to the eyes, and you're going to tie it in. And you're going to tie that down fairly tight. All right. And then you're just going to go down. You're going to keep going down right to where the 2 loops meet, the abdomen to the thorax part, and you're going to tie that down, but you're going to go right to the end, but you're just going to kind of leave that there for the moment. And anything that's really lumpy or sticks up, you're just going to tie that down. So that's going to be tight. And again, that's not going to help any floating, but it will make sure that none of your materials will come loose. And this part is what takes the pressure of the bite, so you want this part to be really latched in there good. The next thing you're going to need is some broom bristles, some black broom bristles, not the thinnest ones. I'm going to call these medium thick. So you've got thin, medium thick, and thick. And for this fly, you want to use these medium thin ones. Now, when you cut these off of your broom, you see it's frayed at the end. You just want to cut that frayed off. All right, to make them level. Because if you use that frayed end, it's just going to keep fraying and fraying and fraying, and it's not going to help your fly. So now you got this length. Your broom bristles are about this length, which is basically a finger length, and you want to cut them in half. So we're going to cut them in half like so. And we'll put half of them off to the side. Okay, so these are the legs of your little wiggle bum nymph. And the first one we're going to tie right at the end, just where, like just in front of where the foam is connected. And these are going to be the rear legs. Do a couple of loops, and then you can just straighten them out, although it isn't really going to matter if they're straight, and I'll tell you why, because you're not going to leave them that long for sure. So it doesn't really matter, but and then what I do is I go around each leg 2 or 3 times, and then I go from underneath, go around go to the other side, go 2 or 3 times, and then I do a couple of crazy 8s over top, and that really locks in your legs. And you really do want them to be locked in, because they will slide around. Let me just see if I got a crazy glue here. As you can see, I always have a lot of crazy glues because I go through it like crazy. Take your crazy glue, open it up like that, and voila. Alright. So when you lock those legs in, you're just going to put a dab of crazy glue. And what it's going to do is going to seal in your fly. And every time you use your crazy glue, make sure to wipe off your tip. I have a pair of pants which are just for fly tying, so I just wipe them on the pants. But they're like a painter's pants. I do a lot of artsy stuff. Okay, so that's the first pair of legs. Second pair of legs is going to be right in the middle between where the eyes are and the middle body of the fly. So you're going to take your next broom bristle, try and even it out just a little bit. Again, it doesn't have to be 100% even because you're going to cut most of it off anyways. Do a couple of crazy eights, and then again, twice around, go from underneath, twice around. Do that a couple of times. A couple of crazy eights. And you've locked it in. And then you can just push all your sets of legs, just push them backwards a little bit to keep them out of your way. Now, the last set of legs, you don't want to touch the eyes. You want to be just a millimeter below the eyes, because when you frame it in, you want it to be able to not, I don't know how to explain it. Almost like the fly has a neck, but it doesn't have a neck. Alright, so again, line them up. Try and make it somewhat even. Couple of crazy eights. Couple times around, couple times around. Alright, like so. And we'll take our brand new crazy glue. Now, whenever you're using crazy glue on any parts of your fly, you will lift up your bobbin, okay, and pull it off to the side. And if you have a cradle, like I have a little cradle, I can use my little cradle, and that will make sure that you do not get any crazy glue drops into your thread, because if you get it into your thread is ruined. And if you spend a lot of money on threads, these clear threads cost about $6 to $7 for one, so it can be quite pricey. Okay, so now you got your leggies all in there. The next thing we're going to do is take a bright orange dubbin. You can see it's even brighter than the orange of the foam. So it's a very fluorescent orange, and that's just made out of wool. I have a video on how to make wool dubbin, and this is just orange, the color orange wool that I bought. So it's a fluorescent orange. So if you find a fluorescent orange, that's what you want, and you just blend it up in your blender, or comb it out. You can comb it out in your dog comb if you don't have a blender. Now, what you want to do is you want to make a dubbin noodle. And you just want to take your two fingers and apply the orange dubbin. And you're going to push all the legs forward, and you're going to go as far back as you can before that loop. You're going to put two turns on there. You're going to pull the two legs that are there for the back rear legs back towards the back. You're going to put two more loops in between those legs and the next pair of legs. And then you're going to need a little more dubbin. And it's always better to put a little dubbin than too much dubbin, because it's easier to add a little more than take it off. So make another dubbin noodle. And then you're going to pull those two legs back towards the rear, and then you're going to add two more. And I didn't make it quite enough, so I need a little bit more. And if you hear any noise in the background, that's my beautiful wife making us lunch. God bless her. I appreciate my wife. And she's saying it's done, which is good because we're pretty much almost done this fly now. So I'll have to set up the table. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to pull this orange up to the front, just where the eye and the where the dubbin and the eyes meet, and you're going to pull it forward, not too tight. Remember, the more you compress foam, the less floaty it is, and this is the part that makes your fly float, that in the bum. So you want it to be a little floaty. So just pull it forward, not too tight, just enough to give it that little curve, but not enough to compress the foam. And that's something you will have to practice. I can't tell you how to do that. And then do 5 little loops, like so. Then you're going to take your thread and you're going to do a cinch knot. So 2 fingers, twist, guide it over the eyes, cinch it down. Alright, and then you're going to take your rounded scissors and you're going to go very flush to it. Alright, and then you're going to take your thread, catch it in between, and just pull it down like that. And that will make it nice and tight. Cinch it down a couple more times. And then you can trim that off. And if you're like me and you want things to be uniformed, you can take your black thread, reattach it, twist it from behind just so it's uniformed. Do 5 or 6 turns, cut off that end piece, and then you can just loop it twice, cinch knot it off, do 2 of those. Now this fly is super tight, super secure, and we just have one more thing to do here. Take the legs, which are now really tightly in there. You're going to take your hemostats and you're going to go the width of your hemostats. I don't know if I can do this on camera really good. The width of your hemostats away from the body, which is pretty much to the edge of where your eyes are. So it should be about right to the edge of your eye. Then you're going to do a 90-degree bend. Then you're going to just leave them like that. Grab the 3. I got to tie this in. Lock that in. Okay. So you're going to do 90 degrees from the body. Then you're going to take those legs and you're going to do a 90-degree up. So basically there's a 90-degree down, 90-degree. And you're going to do that same step on the other side of the body where the eyes are. 90-degree down, 90-degree up. Okay? I did that a little fast. Again, my wife is waiting for us to have lunch. She made this beautiful lunch for us. Then you're going to take all 3 of the legs, pinch them together, and you're going to cut them off 2 millimeters from the bend. And as you can see, it made really nice little legs. Also, if the eye of the hook got a little crowded, you can take your time, bend it back to free it up. I don't have the time to show you. It's a little fidgety. Pretend I push that back and you can see the eye of the hook. This is probably going to be a show fly or scrap fly, or I'll just put it in my collection of not fishing flies, but I would certainly fish this if I took the time. And I might straighten it up later, who knows. Then I'm going to take my brown marker and I'm going to put one more stripe on the back, like so. and only in the thorax section, not on the head section. Now I'm going to take my clear nail polish, and I'm just going to gently dab over it like so, not smearing any of the marker, and then I'll just go over the eyes and the head, and it'll give it that really nice sheen. Then I'm going to take my, anytime you put nail polish on, wipe off your brushes. And that's it. That's it. It's got that really nice buggy look. That bright orange attracts the fish, and it will do the job for you guys. So, and then you can just take it out of your vise, and that's it. The Wiggle Bum Nymph. And if it's still a bit wet, and I have this little clamp, I can always grab it by the bum, which is dry, release it from my hemostats, and I can put it in my little drying clip like this, and then I can just clip it on my table or wherever. I'll just clip it on my vise for now, and that's it. That's the Wiggle Bum Nymph. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Try it out. Let me know in the comments if you fish it. Let me know how it fishes for you. Great for bass, panfish, perch, crappies, bluegills, all those fish. Really, really love it. Yeah. Okay, so that was me. Catch you on the next one. All right. Jody out.